we see our first glimpse of Canis. And guess what? In chapter 28, he's reaching out to Rudo. Rudo gets an opportunity to trash collect for the first time since landing in the ground, and he's all excited. But whilst doing so, Gachiakuta, it leaves another huge clue. We see Canis Surebrec flicker on an old TV monitor in the junkyard, and his hand is reaching out from the screen towards Rudo, but then it switches off. This is just the manga's way creating a brilliant metaphor with the author cooking up peak fiction. Because guess what? We know Canis was trying to save the world, but he failed, reinforcing the idea that what society throws away, it can still hold unimaginable value. However, there's even more to this mystery. Tamzy and the information broker Kuro, they hold all the secrets we want to know, so let's dive in. In chapter 105, Rudo receives the will of Canis. The information broker is someone that has had many roles throughout the centuries, and he was friends with him as well. We see this foreshadowed when Kuro admits he's long forgotten his original form as he transforms into a bird. He claims Rudo can remind him of who he really is once our MC discovers his true power. Now, you know how the Surebrec name spells Sybaris backwards? Well, even this has important meaning. Sybaris's role in Greek mythology was to guard the boundary between life and death, ensuring the dead stay buried and the living never cross over. This symbolism ties perfectly into Gachiakuta because in chapter 81, Zodal rewards Bundus with a statue of Canis, referring to it as an antique. The statue shows Canis holding a shovel, a direct nod to his title as the Undertaker. Just like Sybaris, Canis was someone who guarded the threshold between the ground and sphere. The four symbols from 150 years ago correspond to the Chimera, Sphinx, Hydra, Orthrus, and Sybaris, all who are, by the way, siblings in Greek mythology. This can't be a coincidence, people, because it perfectly aligns with Gachiakuta's story. Look at Zodal's surname, for example, Typhon. In mythology, Typhon nearly defeated the Olympian gods, including Zeus, and this mirrors Zodal's goal in the story with the Raiders. He wants to challenge and bring down the sphere, the ruling power of Gachiakuta's world that seems to be superior, and they're absolute dickheads that we all hate, right? So much like Typhon that waged war on the heavens themselves, he is doing the exact same thing. Even the name Canis literally means dog, and Rudo has a curse inside of him discovered by Semiyu, which is triggered by anger or love. So now I'm gonna prove that Rudo is being set up to be a new king as the world's greatest savior or its greatest destroyer. Canis reveals in his will that he couldn't do it and couldn't stop the humans. All he could do was bury them. He tells his dead children that he has to break the chain, so please live happy lives, where a lot of other information is erased from the will. But the plot twist, they don't stop there. When the raider Momoa uses her powers to tap into the information broker's memories, there's so many within him that she can't believe a single person has that many memories as she gets overwhelmed. Kuro reveals the pictures of Canis's friends, who is their leader, by the way. One is named Bob and the other Amelia, but it's Kuro who urges Canis not to leave, as he equips the entire Watchman series ready to carry out his mission. Then the real truth hits us. Gachiakuta is a dystopia, a society that thinks it's advanced, but it's actually living off hand-me-down tech from a lost civilization far more powerful than their own. And the craziest part is, the Spherites don't even realize it. The humans from 200 years ago had councils, structured leadership, and saw early reports of trash beasts as laughable myths. But now, the truth they ignored has evolved into a nightmare that they can't control. And this perfectly mirrors our real world, because Gachiakuta is telling us what happens when society refuses to treat the planet with care instead of focusing on profits, politics, and other garbage. We ignore the warning signs until eventually the trash fights back. Kuro then reveals something very important. You know how right now we are living in the age of misinformation? Anyone believes anything they see on social media, or the fact that AI can create lies that look real. Well, Kuro states the thing about information is that it's fragile. The more it gets shared, the more easily it loses its proper shape. Once it spreads in its misshaped form, it becomes possible to make new discoveries and thus gain even more information. He provides the raiders a tidbit of info for his own goal to gain his lost memories, the role he talked about Rudo has to give him but he no longer has access to. But in chapter 133, Rudo is foreshadowed to be the new king of the world, being a signal fire for an era that will change everything. Rudo is referred to as a device that makes the world go round, and in the past the world lost its ruler, but they are trying to make a new one. The Hell God were looking for a WMD device, but given the story's development, Rudo is attempting to destroy the Doll Festival to save all the brainwashed humans under Mimo. He feels sympathy for the choker maker Guntus, who is imprisoned as a slave. He too happens to have another item of the Watchman series. However, given the politics of the manga, the Hell God won't see Rudo saving this dude as justice, rather wanting to use Rudo for their own agenda. This is obvious given the fact in chapter 88 they visited Corvus to meet Rudo and take him away, but Corvus refused and Rudo hasn't committed any crimes, right? But after Rudo destroying the Doll Festival, the Hell God will finally have their reason. Eventually, in chapter 141, we literally see it declared that cleaners like Rudo deal with trash beasts every day. Mere humans look like insignificant specks to him, but in truth, Rudo is holding back. They don't want to kill anyone because they want to keep their humanity. So Rudo, he's constantly being put into situations that force a choice upon him, to either hurt innocent people to get what he wants, or strive to be better. The angel, known as Tamzy, he plans to remove Rudo from his shell and has prepared a sacrifice to push him over the edge. Tamzy sees Rudo not just as a boy seeking out revenge, but as a ticking time bomb designed to reshape the entire world. After murdering Rudo's adopted father Recto and stealing the Watchman series book, Tamzy ensures Rudo is framed by society, fully aware that the sphere will brand him guilty due to his tribe background and parentage. But his goal isn't just to torment Rudo, it's to sculpt him into a role he wants him to be. Tamzy believes Rudo holds the potential to either destroy both heaven and the ground, or become a divine weapon of justice. And to awaken that destructive potential, Tamzy systematically plants seeds of despair. He joins the cleaners to watch Rudo suffer firsthand, emotionally manipulating Amo, who loves Rudo, and engineers tragic events like Follow's near-death experience just to fuel Rudo's hatred. This is because Tamzy views this emotional spiral as an act of love, referring to his plan as justice and himself as the artist orchestrating Rudo's rebirth. So by allowing Rudo to experience friendship, hope, love, joy, eating all the sweets he wants and being happy for the first time in his life, being respected, all this shit, Tamzy's only going to rip it all away. He wants to ensure that when Rudo finally snaps, he will awaken the true power of the Watchmen series, because Tamzy knows that only the broken, the actually insane people can wield these weapons fully. That's why he pushes Rudo into loss after loss, and that is to mold him into the perfect user of free R and to make him the ultimate catalyst for chaos. Like, look at chapter 129. Tamzy literally calls Rudo's downfall absolute cinema, confirming he's waiting for the moment when Rudo sheds his humanity and embraces the role fate designed for him, as either the world's destroyer or its new ruler. But to enjoy more peak fiction and learn more about Gachiakuta Gachiakuta's manga and its world? Watch this video on your screen right now.